So you're looking to jump into the world of online gaming. You've probably heard the whispers about the Anjouan gaming license, right? It's being touted as this incredibly fast, super cheap way to get your operation off the ground. But is it for real? Today we're going to dig past the sales pitch and find out what it actually costs to get started. Okay, let's just cut straight to the chase. This is the number that gets everyone talking. 17,000 euros. Now, in an industry where some licenses can set you back hundreds of thousands, a price like this, well, it's not just tempting, it feels like a total game changer. You can see why it's turning heads.
For any startup, seeing a number like 17,000 euros feels like you've just found a golden ticket. It looks like your fast-track pass into the huge iGaming market. But, the price is just the hook. Let's look at what they say you get for your money, because this is where the deal starts to sound almost too good to be true.
I mean, just look at this list. It's practically a startup's dream menu. 0 tax on your gaming revenue? That is huge. A setup that takes just 2 to 4 weeks? That's basically light speed in this business. On top of that, it's crypto-friendly, and one single license covers everything. Casino, sports, poker, the whole shebang. So on paper, it looks perfect, which naturally leads us all to ask the same thing.
Right. So what's the catch? Because, let's be honest, when a deal seems this perfect, there is always a catch. And with the Anjouan license, it's not some tiny little detail buried in the fine print. Oh no. It's a massive, real-world roadblock you smash into the second you actually try to run your business. And here it is. The single biggest problem for anyone with an Anjouan license is what I call the big banking roadblock. See, this is the part people tend to forget. You can have a shiny new license, but if you can't open a bank account or process payments from your players, your business is basically dead on arrival.
It really all boils down to one word: reputation. In the world of international finance, where your license is from matters a lot. A license from a place like Malta or the UK, that's like a seal of approval. The big banks trust it. Anjouan, on the other hand, just doesn't have that same heavyweight reputation. And for those big, cautious banks, that makes them very, very nervous. And you know what happens when banks get nervous? It creates a huge problem for you. A whole lot of global banks and payment processors, the companies you need to handle credit cards and player deposits, will just flat out refuse to work with you. For them, a company registered in Anjouan is a higher risk, and it's just way easier to say no.
And here's the killer detail, the technical thing that can stop you in your tracks. Your official company documents from Anjouan, they often lack something called an apostille certification. Now just think of that as an official international stamp that proves your paperwork is legit. Without that stamp, most international banks won't even give your application a second glance. It's basically unusable. So you can see how this all just snowballs, right? The less prestigious license means you get put under a microscope by banks. But even if you pass that, your documents don't have the right certification, so you get rejected anyway. It builds this massive wall right when you're just trying to set up the most basic thing, moving money. So how on earth does anyone make this work? Well, the industry has come up with a very clever, and now pretty much mandatory, workaround. It's a structural fix that means you don't create one company, you have to create 2. And the absolute key to this whole thing is something called a payment agent company. This is your second, totally separate company. And here's the crucial part. You register it in a highly reputable financial hub like Cyprus or the UK. Its one and only job is to be the friendly, trustworthy face for the banks, handling all the money. Okay, so here's how that actually works in practice. Step 1. You set up a parent company somewhere like Belize. That's the company that officially holds your Anjouan gaming license. Then, step 2. You create that second separate payment agent company in a trusted place like Cyprus. This is the company that will actually open the bank accounts and process all the player funds.
This chart breaks down the division of labor perfectly. Your Anjouan-linked company is the gaming side of the house. It holds the license, it runs the games. But your EU-based payment agent, that's the money side. It's got the high credibility, it holds the bank accounts, and it's the one that deals with all the financial partners. You're basically keeping the gaming and the money completely separate.
Okay, so now that we get this whole mandatory 2 companies set up, we can finally get to the real bottom line. So what does all this, the license, the 2 companies, everything, actually cost? And here it is, the real number. When you add up everything you need to actually operate, your total annual cost isn't 17,000 euros. Nope. It's somewhere between 40,000 and 47,000 euros. That is a massive leap from that initial hook, isn't it? So let's break that down real quick. The 17,000 euro license fee,
Yep, that's still there. But then you have to tack on a few thousand euros a year for your parent company in Belize. And then, the most important piece, another 5 grand or so for your payment agent company in Cyprus. You put all that together and boom, you land squarely in that 40 to 47,000 euro range.
This chart really tells the whole story in one glance, doesn't it? On the left, you've got that shiny, attractive headline fee. And on the right, well, that's reality. The true annual cost is more than double the promise. The difference is just stark.
Which brings us to the final and most important question. After all of this, the extra layers of complexity, the banking headaches, and a price tag that's way higher than advertised, is an Anjouan license actually worth it?
Let's just lay it all out. The pros? They're still really strong. Getting to market that fast is amazing. A 0% tax rate can save you a fortune, and the flexibility is great. But the cons are just as serious. The true cost is high, the corporate setup is a pain, and you're still going to be dealing with a low-rep license and major banking hurdles.
And this really is the key takeaway. That low price you see everywhere, it's kind of an illusion. To actually succeed with an Anjouan license, you have to go in prepared to plan and pay for a much more complex and expensive corporate structure right from day one.
So, we'll end on this thought. Is the Anjouan license a smart shortcut for an experienced operator who can navigate the complexity to get those speed and tax benefits? Or is it a complicated detour that ends up costing you more time, money, and headaches than it saves? Honestly, the answer really depends on your budget, your team's experience, and frankly, your appetite for a challenge.